This is the third of 5 photographs I have of this room in Boston, Massachusetts, late 1800s, early 1900s. Not 100% sure. This is the third of 5, as I said, and I've showcased. This is the third of 5, as I mentioned earlier, and this is just a different angle of the same room as the 2 earlier photos that I previewed. This is, to me, the most interesting of the angles of the room because it's got a lot of stuff in it. The other ones had a lot of stuff in it. This one has a lot of stuff in it and a lot of interesting stuff. So let's take a look. So the first thing I want to show you real quick here is this hat was actually in another one of the photos because it's the same room. This is the same room, just different angles. Okay, so we saw this hat before, and it's interesting to me that they have it there. It's there intentionally. It's not haphazard. And so there's a reason why they have this hat here. I don't know what that is, but they had it there for a reason. This cabinet, I don't know if you would call it a bookcase. I guess it could be considered a bookcase. It's just chock full of books. So I guess we'll call it a bookcase. And we don't know what the books are for sure. I can't read anything on there. This one is interesting to me because there are books that are laid flat here, and then this one is facing out. So they liked the cover of this book for whatever reason, and they're showcasing it. Where all the other ones, you just see the spine. I don't know what this is right here. It looks like a book with something on top of it. Not sure. I wanted you to take a look up here real quick because, and I'll hide this so you can see it better. This was pretty dirty negative. So this is the raw scan here. And this is shows how good this negative is because you can see right here, the seam where they spliced the crown molding together. The other thing that's interesting to me is this little contraption right here. And I am guessing it is some kind of bell that leads to the kitchen or the maid's quarters or something where they can ring a bell and get a servant there. I don't know if that's it 100%, but I think that might be it. Over here we have a picture of this gentleman, and I think there is a window behind this fabric. You got this cornice here, very elaborate, and maybe there's a window behind here and there's fabric in front of it. Over here we have a picture frame with, there's nothing in it. So this might be a mourning cloth again that's draped over the frame. That was similar to the one that was draped over a portrait of a woman in the other angle of the room. It's possible this is, again, some kind of mourning thing. Now remember, in the same room, at the same time, there was a bed in this room. So somebody might have been ill and they died recently and they're taking pictures shortly thereafter. I wanted to talk a little bit about these negatives because this was an expensive photo shoot. This was not cheap. I have 5 negatives, but there are more that I don't own. And they're 6.5 by 8.5 glass negatives, which is not cheap and it's remarkable. They survived all these years. Pretty amazing, actually. So we know already that this is an affluent family. No question marks about that. They did move things around the room as they took pictures. For example, this vase with the flowers used to be on the piano. This hassock used to be in another location. This picture, the same thing. it was in another location, and this little bench, table, whatever it is, was in front of the piano in another photograph. Okay, so here's probably the most interesting aspect of this room. Last thing I want to talk about this photograph is, if you notice, there's carpeting on the floor. The first photograph that I worked on had no carpets on the floor. The second one had carpet on the floor, and this one had carpet on the floor. So we don't know the sequence of these negatives. Was the one without carpet on the floor, was that the first to be taken and then they added back the carpets, or were the ones with the carpets the first that were taken and then they removed the carpets for that last one? I don't know, but definitely no carpets in one of them, carpets in two of them. What we have on this door is an animal pelt with some spears on it, possibly from an African safari. And if it was, which I think it probably was, then this, again, an affluent family that could afford to go on a safari. So another terrific view of this room, different angle, more stuff. That's the whole thing, more stuff. So I have 2 more to go, and one is not that interesting, to be honest. Probably be a brief review of that one. The last one, the one I'm saving for last, has a person in the room, so I'm saving that one for last. I hope you enjoy this video tour, and if you do, please follow me for more.